be right back. One second. Oh, sorry. Greetings and salutations. Yes. Sorry I'm late. I had the voice acting class and all my stuff was in my car. I forgot to bring it up and set it back up. So, yeah, I had to do that this morning. My bad. Hello, hello. We left off with Beatrice and Erika. Apparently a big final showdown between them. So. There, nope, that's wrong screen. Here we go. Let's see what we got in store. So you're Lady Burncastle's next piece after Angie. I'm afraid I didn't get to fight with her to my satisfaction in the end. I'm glad I'll be able to lock horns with you this time. Lady Burncastle's piece. My master is almighty, omnipotent. A fool like you couldn't even begin to compare with her. I accept your challenge. You really are calm. Even though a witch has appeared before you and is about to fight with magic and fantasy. If you were a battler, you'd be lying on the ground, screaming that this can't possibly be a mystery anymore. Yeah, even in the mystery genre, parallel universes like this have gotten popular lately. You know about pure reasoning space and all that. Ayatsuji Yukito doesn't make his debut until next year. You sure are picky for a witch. You think you're on the same level as a witch? Don't be so full of yourself, you mere human. When Beato snapped her fingers, something bounced around the room at terrifying speeds. It was the stake of the witch, a witch's wedge that contained the power of the blue truth within it. Of course, a mere human like Erika couldn't follow that terrible speed with her eyes. Erika understood this, so she didn't attempt to look every which way, stupidly trying to spot it. Eat this, fool! With a terrible sound, Lucifer's blue stake buried itself into Erika's right collarbone. It pierced all the way through her back. Yep, I knew it. Lucifer spun and rebounded, landed in front of Beato. and vanished with a shrill laugh. Erika wasn't blown back, but she had been run through by the blue wedge. So, this is that so-called blue truth. Well then, let me hear your views. You can't deny the possibility that Natsuhi met with Kinzo at 11 o'clock. During the 6 hours or more before you push your way into the study, Kinzo had many chances to escape from it. Because of this, you can't state decisively that Kinzo doesn't exist. Beato announced that with an expression worthy of her title as witch. Erika was silent. Was she too shocked to speak? There was no anguish in her expression. She was just quietly listening to Beato's blue truth. No, judging by her disdainful expression, it's probably more appropriate to say that Beato's words went in one ear and out the other. Gutto? Let's start with the classic moves. By the way, this thing really is stuck good. I can't take it out. She tried pulling from the front and back of the blue wedge that pierced her, but it didn't budge an inch. However, her indifferent, relaxed expression didn't budge an inch either. You can't take it out. The blue truth can only be defeated by the red truth. For one such as yourself, a guest who came to this island at most a day ago, there is no truth that can possibly be known. That means there exists no red that you can use. In other words, this is checkmate. I see. So that's what kind of space this is. In that case, I'll need a piece suitable for fighting a witch. I'm the detective. My role is to take on the human culprit. You are a witch, and there does exist a fitting piece to use against witches and demons. Let me introduce you, Miss Delano. It looks like it's your turn. Delano? I thought so. I was certain you'd bring that piece in sooner or later. The 10 wedges with which to hunt witches. The Archbishop of Witch Hunting, Delano. There's no more fitting piece in a battle against demons. I have my double, Erika, and the greatest natural enemy of witches, Delano. I've now taken control of the 7th rank with my 2 rooks. Let me show you, Lam de Delta, and you too, Beatrice. Now you'll see how useless your struggling is. Archbishop, huh? The air shone brightly, and the piece Erika had guided there showed its form. That form resembled a clergy member, perfectly suited for confronting an evil witch. It is a pleasure to meet you. Delano Henox is my name. Thumbnail girl, indeed. Even though this space was like a bomb just waiting to go off, she introduced herself in a neat and frank manner. Her out-of-place appearance, completely different from those of the demons and witches, felt blatantly odd and had a kind of severity to it. This is the first time I've met you, but I've heard all the rumors. So this doesn't truly feel like a first meeting. The same goes for me, Miss Beatrice. The detailed materials Eisern Jungfrau has on you are summarized in 600 pages. I always read such reports, so this doesn't feel like a first meeting to me either. The Secretary of Hell could summarize those 600 pages into 6 letters. Allow me to ask. Danger. A fitting summary. When I return, I will summarize the materials on you using only 2 letters more, out of respect. Executed. So, I'm cute now. You're too polite, my guest. Then let us continue. Miss Beatrice, I, Delanor, the head of Inquisitor of Heresy, do humbly accept my role as your opponent. My first move is over. If you can't remove the blue wedge from that foot of Erika over there, then you might as well totter back up to heaven and get back to your usual boring job of stamping forms. Please, do something about this wedge thing. It looks like Beatrice-san thinks she's already achieved checkmate with this alone. English puns. Yeah. After making a show of tapping her finger on the blue wedge that pierced her, Erika shrugged as though taunting Beatrice. Beatrice. Oh yeah, not too easy here. It's okay. I'm just toying with her a bit. After all, if things get bad, I can grab Kinso and run out of here whenever I want. I can leave this room at any time and go anywhere. That is useless. Oh. Now that you've made up with me, this is your demise. Escape will not be permitted. None can escape. True. We can't deny that it'd be possible for Father to suddenly wake up and go somewhere. But you know what? I can say for sure that such a thing couldn't have happened. You know why? How could I know? Are you trying to say you stood outside this door all night, watching to make sure the head didn't take a step outside? Yes, someone was watching. This kid right here. Please, allow me to speak. Let it be known that entering or exiting through this door is impossible. The palace guards are ordered to blockade the study door. The doors to heaven opened with a strong, unrelenting radiance like the sun's, announcing the arrival of Delanor's underlings. Those words were clad in the red truth and cut off the witch's method of escape. Chester, 410, right here. Chester, 45, right here. It has been some time, great Lady Beatrice. We were dispatched in accordance with the Alliance Agreement number 1516 and a request from the Great Court of Heaven. We apologize for the rudeness that is to follow. We formed a precision blockade on the study door. Yeah. I think it's best if you stay away from it. Yeah. Howdy. Welcome, welcome. Allow me to speak. I say again, from last night to 11 o'clock until the present time, the study door was not opened even once. What is that scrap of paper? It's a completely ordinary receipt. But even so, the mere scrap of paper proves that you lied. Last night, when you came out of the study, Eva saw her chance and wedged a receipt in the crack of the study door. And it fell down just now when Rudolph-kun opened the door for us. Know what that means? In other words, from 11 last night until now, Father couldn't possibly have opened this door. What did you say? Rudolph, the window was locked, right? Yeah, that's why I smashed the glass. The other windows are all locked as well. They're all built so that you can't lock them from the outside. Allow me to speak. Know that the windows were all locked. Palace guards blockade all of the windows. By the name of Eisner Jungfrau, I give the palace guards permission to make use of forbidden weapons. Understood. Entire force, permission granted for use of forbidden weapon. Red warhead. Begin transmitting activation code. The password doesn't work, yeah. 410, turn caps lock off and try again. Siesta Squad. Precision blockade for study door and all windows complete. We warn the great Lady Beatrice that if anything is caught passing through these physically, conceptually, or by any other method, we will shoot without warning. Data link from Archangel Satellite 4. Following format. Verdict model conceptual guidance. And on top of that, we've got red warheads. Yeah. Impossible to shoot down. Impossible to avoid. Impossible to survive when hit. It'd smash even Lady Beatrice into little bits. Yeah. The Jester Squad had laid down a pinpoint blockade over the door and all the windows. Escape would no longer be permitted through any of these. My. I should be doing the welcoming. But it seems I am the one being welcomed. I'm grateful for the courtesy call, and you've even brought the Jester sisters. Allow me to inform you that your path of teeth has been cut off. Commander Delanor, let us now remove the sin and purify. You've done well, Miss Beatrice. I've had your paths of retreat terminated. You cannot leave through the door, nor can you leave through the windows. Therefore, escape will now be prohibited. You think you've shut me in with this alone? More pieces, more people, more stuff. The Inquisitor of Heresy in Heaven and her subordinates surrounded the witch. The subordinates used a powerful barrier to cut off Beato's method of escape. Demons tend to resist capture, and as a result, they sometimes escape. However, angels counter by blocking off passages of escape, allowing them to eradicate their targets without fail. In other words, this study was a perfect closed room from the time Natsuhi Nei-san claimed she said goodnight, to the time Rudolph opened the door. In that case, Father would have to be here. But there's not even a trace of him. Come on, what the hell's going on? I keep telling you to calm down. The thought that I, Beatrice, could be shut in just because these doors and windows are closed is simply laughable. Kinzo. I was just playing around, but it seems our guest has no such intentions. Let's withdraw before we lose our chance. Yes. I would not regret losing this life of mine. But for Natsuhi's sake, I cannot die yet. Beata weaved her pipe and the air was split vertically. Then, a pitch-black gate appeared there and slowly opened. It was a warp portal, the same as the pitch-black holes that Gap used. I believe this was written on my files. An elusive phantom can appear from anywhere and disappear to anywhere. As long as Kinzo has me, it will be impossible to capture him. The pitch-black gate opened. The gate led from everywhere, and to nowhere. Both Beato and Kinzo would be sent to a place where no one could catch them. A place where no one could set foot in, much less chase after them. The study of the Ushimiya family ahead. And it is also a room that Father helped to design personally. Would it really be so strange if he had some way to get outside without using the door? Yes, that's correct. There would be nothing strange about the master having a hidden door. A hidden door? And where would that be? It's a hidden door, so I don't know. There are several devices and hidden doors in this mansion that only Father knows of. No one has seen them directly, but everyone in this mansion knows about them vaguely, correct? Yes. It's true that there have always been rumors about hidden passages only the Master knows of. It's true that Kenzo-san would probably like devices such as that. And they are hidden doors, after all. No matter how much people such as ourselves might search, it's only natural that we won't find them. I see. So it's a devil's proof. You're saying we can't deny the possibility that a hidden door exists in this room. That's nonsense. A farce. Even considering that you lie about concealing Father's death is about to be revealed, how dare you? That's right. Just where in the study is there a hidden door? Try and prove that it exists. Proof is unnecessary. It's a devil's proof. It's impossible to find a hidden door, and they're impossible to disprove that it exists. Therefore, no one can deny the possibility that Kinzo escaped from the study through a hidden door. Oh. I will not allow a hidden door to exist in this room. Beato's blue wedge, which had been fired off as a farewell gift, was crushed with the flash of Delanor's longsword, and the pitch-black gate was crushed as well. Sorry. And it wasn't just crushed visibly and physically. The warp portal conceptualizing hidden doors would remain destroyed from that point onward. Why can someone like you, who is neither the owner of the study, nor the game master, use the red truth? And what was that? What do you mean you will not allow hidden doors to exist? It's because this is the mystery genre. Nox is third. It is forbidden for hidden passages to exist. Hidden doors mustn't exist in the mystery genre. Sorry about that. In this world, there are no other gods except our god, and no hidden doors exist. They must not exist, and we won't let them exist. They are blasphemy against our god. Enough pride in you to shock a witch. It's so painful to watch that it's actually pleasurable. Here it is. The 10 wedges to pierce witches. Just like usual. It's the kind of irrational argument I just love to hear. What a fool. The devil's proof might have been vague enough to let you escape from everything until now. But now that you're up against Delanor, that move won't work anymore, Beatrice. As I thought, you're no different from any witch after all. I'm disappointed. Beato. It seems this isn't an opponent you'll be able to escape from easily after all. Please do entertain me, Beatrice-san. You should at least serve some tea for your guests. It doesn't even matter if it's third-rate. Come on, please use the blue truth, and tell me how Kinzo-san escaped from the closed room study. Very well. Make sure you don't cry. It's possible that, after slipping out the door, Kinzo noticed the trick with her seat and correctly returned it to its original place. Denial of that with the red has already been finished. After 11, the door to the study was not opened even once. Kinzo might have been a marvelous magician and an inventor, right? He might have invented a drug that turned his body to mist and slipped out through the keyhole. No such drug exists. It must not exist. Or maybe he invented a teleport device, right? That possibility is undeniable because of the devil's proof. Such a machine does not exist. I will not allow it to exist. So you can examine every drug in the world. You can deny the existence of unknown scientific devices. There's no way you can. It's a devil's proof. You cannot deny that they might exist. I will repeat. By the name of God, I will not let such a drug or machine exist. I will not allow them to exist for all eternity. Not even in the future? So you think you can even deny possibilities in the future of the human race? It's Noxus Fourth. It is forbidden for unknown drugs and hard to understand scientific devices to be used. The progression of humanity, as well as techniques and knowledge that might be obtainable in the future, are decided upon by our God, and the denial of their existence has been proclaimed for eternity. Therefore, I will not allow for such a technique to exist for all eternity. It is not permitted. Beato and Delunor had supposedly just gone through a massive exchange of red and blue. However, not only did Delunor not take any damage, she also showed no signs of fatigue. Beato might have been a fearsome witch, but blood flowed through her veins, and she did breathe. She felt both pain and fatigue. But Delunor was like a doll made of marble. She felt no fatigue, no pain, no hesitation. Even if Beato's sharp wedges had aimed right for Delanor's eyes, she wouldn't have had shut them. In fact, it's doubtful that she ever blinks in the first place. So she's a doll, huh? Beatrice, hang in there. Well, I'd already heard the rumors, but her compatibility really is awful. To think that dreams, hopes, and even future possibilities would be forbidden. The pride of the gods is overwhelming. I'd expect no less from a witch hunter executioner. It seems we'll never be able to enjoy a drink together. Even the strikes that had made Battler surrender over and over had absolutely no effect on Delunor. Well, I more or less knew that was coming, but to think that it'd be repelled so easily. Quite a formidable opponent. Oh my. So even the great goldsmith has gotten old and decrepit. Hearing those words come out of your mouth is rarer than seeing two comets in the night sky. I'm not decrepit. I'm already dead. That's true. Sorry, but I'm not letting you die just for a bit longer. Beato experienced something she'd only rarely felt during her entire life. It was probably what we'd call hardship. Beato quietly brushed aside Natsuhi's hand that tried to comfort her, and she regained her posture again, showing off her witch's pride and her continued readiness to fight. Is that all? There was no need for me to come here. I'm disappointed. I'm not done yet. I was just testing a few moves just now. I merely wish to measure your abilities. How foolish. Know your place, Golden Witch. Lady Beatrice. Beato's expression became tense once again. No longer was there any trace of mischief. The mood changed. Interesting. The time for playing is over. Here I go. In that case, I shall acknowledge that Kinzo did not enter or leave the study. Why don't I accept your closed room? Let it be known that Beatrice has changed her pattern of attack. Beatrice, who had until then thoroughly resisted the idea that a closed room existed, did an about-face. She proclaimed that she accepted their proposition. Of course, this didn't mean she'd surrendered. This was a new attack of Beato's. Delunor noticed this and readied herself. What's going on? Why did Lady Beatrice acknowledge the closed room when she's trying to destroy it, yeah? She's probably trying to claim that Kinzo existed outside of this room. Confirmation that the Great Lady Beatrice's warp portal has reactivated. Natsui claims to have talked with Kinzo in the study, but she never said that she spoke with him face to face. Therefore, if Kinzo was in a location other than the study, there is no contradiction as long as they held a conversation. Kinzo wasn't in there in the first place. I knew it. That's what she was going to go with. After bouncing at an erratic angle, the witch's stake pierced the top of Dilinor's foot. You sure are slow. The top of the foot, all mine. Natsui used the internal phone line in the study to speak with Kinzo, who was in another place. There would be nothing strange if Kinzo, who hates the relatives, predicted that they'd enter his study and left to go elsewhere. He might have gone to the hidden mansion, Kuadorian. Asmodeus' stake, which contained the power of Beato's blue truth and pierced Dilinor's foot, changed into a blue wedge. Oh yeah, coming from you. That kind of goes contradictory to your own name. Not bad. That makes sense, yeah. Blue truth. Valid. A cyclone of gold butterflies swept up with Beato at its center. The magical power of the once smashed black gate was once again refilled. If I can manage to hold Dilinor off here, I'll be able to warp Kinzo out of the study in time. Out of the study this time. All the way to Kuadorian. Dilinor moved clumsily, trying to pull a blue wedge out of her foot. But it didn't even budge. Of course, Beato didn't miss this chance. No witch would. I've got more, so get ready. There's a chance the Kinzo Natsui mentioned does not refer to the person himself. The Kinzo Natsui spoke of might have been another name for this room, right? Kinzo had taken refuge in Kuadorian and was impossible to contact. Perhaps Natsui called this room Father. And by contemplating inside it, she felt as though she had received some sort of revelation from Kinzo. We've stopped your movement. You've already lost. Beelzebub's blue wedge pierced the base of Dilinor's neck. Of course, even this didn't cause her to flinch, but her movements were restricted even further. Interesting. Is that all? You don't call it a full-course dinner if you stop at the soups and hors d'oeuvres. I'll hit you with the main dish and the dessert at once, so watch your stomach explode as you die. Even if, as you say, this is a closed room and impossible to escape from, you can't deny the possibility that he's still hiding in this room. I'm not talking about a hidden door. He might be under the bed, or above the ceiling. He might be hiding in a truly unobtrusive blind spot that only demons could know of, right? Or it might be that Natsui, who was ordered to speak specially on Kinzo's behalf, considered herself both his representative and another Kinzo. In other words, it's possible that Natsui was also Kinzo. I've got plenty more. At 11 last night, Kinzo escaped out the window. Natsui watched him go, then locked the window. This doesn't lead to any problems. In fact, it might be the most beautiful blue truth yet. How's that, Dilinora Nox? There are many ways to escape from this closed room. Know your foolishness in trying to oppose my master. There's no need for you to argue back. Just lose and sleep for all eternity. The seven sisters appeared from Beato's golden tornado, one after another, piercing Dilinor with blue wedges. 4 blue wedges were buried into her neck, chest, gut, and thigh. Including the one buried into the top of her foot, she was pincushioned by 5 stakes. Oh, Beatrice-sama, when's my turn? I'll use you if I think of any more. Be quiet for now. How do you like that, Dilinor the Witch Hunter? After skewering and burning so many witches in the past, how does it feel to be skewered by a witch this time? They were all ridiculous arguments, but they came fiercely one after another. though a total of 5 wedges pierced Eleanor. Her expression didn't change in the slightest. However, her movements had indeed been limited. Wedges sure are scary, yeah. Sorry. You can't beat twisted logic, yeah? Yeah, give me a sec. They don't violate the Noxus dialogue. It's valid. Give me one sec. Hard drive space issue. They don't violate the Noxus Decalogue. It's valid. Well done, Beatrice. Even if there was no one in the study, and even if it was a closed room, that alone isn't enough to deny Father's existence. Against a normal opponent, I think a matter's settled by now. Against a normal opponent, I think the matter's settled by now. But this is Eleanor, head inquisitor of heresy. This ruthless woman killed even her father when he violated the Decalogue. Kinzo. Now. Right. Now that Eleanor had been pinned down, this was her last chance to recover their magical power and escape. Once again, a pitch-black gate began to rise slowly in front of Beato and Kinzo. Though the gate had once been opened by simply drawing in the air, it wasn't so easy in the study now, filled as it was with the power of denial. Denial is quite a powerful force. What do you think, everyone? No matter how much you question the state of the study, you can't question whether or not Father is in good health. Oh, so you say. Both you and I. I'd better not forget that we are part of this battle, right? I cannot fight against witches, but I can fight against you. Erika grinned at Natsuhi with a smile more demonic than a real demon's. Natsuhi-san, let me ask again. Last night, you're sure you spoke with Ushimiya Kinzo-san, right? Yes. I have said repeatedly that I came to deliver a report for the day and to say goodnight. This may be a strange thing to ask, but since it's needed to prove your innocence, please answer me straightforwardly. This Kinzo you speak of is the Ushimiya Kinzo-san we all know of, right? It isn't a different person or thing with the same name, is it? I'm not really sure what you mean. It's like this. You didn't, for instance, start calling this room itself Father after Father's death, right? That's what she's asking. You said you gave a daily report to Father before he went to sleep, right? That doesn't mean you gave a daily report to the wall here all by yourself inside the study called Father, right? How rude. Nothing of the sort happened. Father is Father. He is in good health. And I most certainly gave him a report and said good night to him last night. I'm not trying to trick you or talk my way out of anything. I see. In that case, can you repeat what I'm about to say? If you aren't tricking or deceiving us in any way, you should be able to do it. Fine. I'll repeat whatever you want. Repeat it. Ushimiya Natsui did, at 11 o'clock last night, speak with Ushimiya Kinzo while in the same room as him. This room. Ushimiya Natsui did, at 11 last night, speak with Ushimiya Kinzo while in the same room as him. This room. Good. Then I'll ask one last thing. Seriously now, Natsuhi-san. You didn't do anything like throwing Kinzo-san out the window after our conversation and locking the window behind him, right? Because everything still makes sense if you did. Why would I want to chase Father out the window? This is intolerable. This mockery is intolerable. Please, allow me to speak. Let it be said that when Natsuhi refers to Kinzo, she means Tsushima Kinzo and nothing else. Please, allow me to speak. Natsuhi claims to have met face to face with Kinzo in the study at 11 o'clock. Natsuhi let out a cry, but it was too late. She had been totally suckered in by their provocation. The blue wedge to the foot representing a telephone discussion. The blue wedge to the neck representing the study itself being called Kinzo. The blue wedge to the gut representing Natsuhi herself being called Kinzo. The blue wedge to the thigh representing Natsuhi letting Kinzo escape out the window and locking it afterwards. The four of them were smashed up with a thin sound, because Natsuhi, the one who knew the truth, had denied them. Those denials had gained the power of the red truth. Despite Kinzo's absence in this closed room, Beato had introduced 5 ways that Kinzo could still exist. Natsuhi had carelessly crushed the premises behind 4 of those herself. Only 1 wedge remained. In other words, this was the last blue truth that could bury the contradiction of Kinzo existing in the study at 11, but not existing there later, after it became a closed room. There was only the theory that pierced Eleanor's chest. Kinzo is hiding somewhere in this room. With that theory, even if Kinzo wasn't present in this closed room study, he could still exist there. If this wedge of Satan's were to be crushed, their chances of escaping this room would become hopelessly dim. Beatrice, quickly, escape while you still can. Eleanor slowly grasped the final wedge, which still pierced her chest. Apparently, that vice-like grip was hurting Satan as though all the bones in her body were being broken. All that remains is this one wedge. It was about Kinzo hiding somewhere in this room, correct? As the detective, I've searched all of those places. If I didn't find him, where could he be hiding? Was the final wedge, Beato. If this wedge was taken out, then... Allow me to ask, just where in the study is Kinzo hiding? Well then, maybe he's under the bed? A check of that place has been finished. Maybe he's in the bathtub. A check of that place has been finished. Inside the closet, under the desk, behind the curtains. A check of that place has been finished. Check finished. Check finished. That's an interesting face. Behind the bookshelf, behind the closet, under the carpet, under the floor, above the ceiling, behind the wallpaper, inside the sofa, inside the chair, inside the bed, inside the blankets, inside the walls, inside a rock, inside a crack, inside the room. Check finished, check finished, check finished, check finished, check finish, 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 check finish, 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 finish. Die the death. Sentence to death. The great equalizer. No locations would work against Eleanor by this point. Eleanor took Beato's final desperate onslaught head-on, turning everything back with a far stronger power of denial. Beat them up, knock them down with overwhelming force. No longer does any place exist in the study for Kinzo to escape to. Beato was blown back like a leaf dancing in the wind, knocked around over and over again like an empty can lying on a road. By now, no matter how many times Beato used the blue truth, it wouldn't be able to defeat Eleanor's red. Witches are so pathetic. You just try to talk your way out of things endlessly, trying to confuse the truth. Let me borrow Delinor's words. I'm disappointed, Beatrice-san. Erika coldly delivered these decisive words to Beato, who was crawling on the ground. Detective's authority. The detective has the right to inspect all crime scenes. I have exercised this right. Therefore, I can say this. Kinzo-san is not inside this room. Furthermore, this room is a perfect closed room. From the above 2 points, I can state this fact. This room was empty the whole time. Natsui-san lied about having met Kinzo-san here last night. That makes this checkmate, Beatrice-san. Simply by the existence of this room, this level of reasoning is possible for Furuta Erika. What do you think, everyone? Sorry about that. At these words, the final wedge shattered, and at the same time, the pitch-black gate that was about to open shattered once again. This time, the warp portal had been completely destroyed. No longer would Kinzo be permitted to exit in this room, or escape from it. Beato struggled to her feet, but that was the best she could do. She no longer had the energy to fight. She had taken all of the denying Red head-on from close range. It took all of her strength just to withstand a pain so strong. It felt like she'd vomit up all her insides. Even Beato, who had always aimed for the title of strongest and most evil witch, couldn't do a thing against the witch hunter. No matter how sturdy a sandcastle you build on the beach, it can never win against the rising tide. Sorry, Kinzo. Looks like this opponent really was tough after all. Beatrice, I thank you. You've done so much for me, despite your remaining grudge. I guess it's true that your life flashes by when you see death coming. I've remembered how you once looked when you were young. You were annoyingly like Battler. I now pass on everything, my soul, and the qualifications of the head, to Battler. I no longer have any regrets. Battler, my apologies. How pitiful. Though I swore to fight with you once again, I must settle my accounts like this. To Beato, it seemed as though Battler had met her gaze. There was no way he could have. This Battler was the Peace Battler. There was no way he could see Beato in this higher level world. However, his eyes really did meet hers, even though they couldn't have. Beato was sure they did. As Erika, Eva, and the others closed in on Natsuhi, questioning her over and over, only Battler stood apart from that tumult. His expression held none of the enthusiasm and excitement that the other humans had. It just piercingly and coldly surveyed the scene. And the expression on his face was a quiet displeasure, anger. He wasn't feeling compassion for Natsuhi because her lie was about to be exposed. However, he couldn't excuse Erika, a self-proclaimed intellectual rapist, who simply enjoyed cornering Natsuhi and those who sympathized with her. Then he whispered softly, "It's useless." Beato and the others definitely heard that. You don't think Battler might turn things around from this weakened position? I probably could have done it back in the day. And Battler can probably do it. Battler. That's right. Battler. If you're indeed the man who will inherit everything from me, now is the time to prove it. Don't let the legend of the Golden Witch end here. It's true. I met Father here last night. It's true. And he spoke to me of the Ushimiya family's glorious history, as well as the burden of burying it. Your lie has already been exposed, Natsuhi-san. We already know that you were alone in this room last night. Isn't it about time to give up and confess? Culprits who are bad at giving up tend to go with bad mystery novels. At least in the end, please prove that this is a slightly better third-rate mystery than that. It's useless. It's all useless. Battler, who had been silent off by himself up until then, spoke. At first, it sounded as though he was attacking Natsuhi. However, when Erika realized he was glaring directly at her, her expression visibly clouded with displeasure. And just what are you calling useless? If this is a third-rate mystery, then the detective's third-rate too. Listen up. I'm gonna become grandfather. Battler? You'll become Kinzo-san? Are you saying you'll become Kinzo-san and reenact his disappearance from this room? Do you actually intend to deny my checkmate? Fool! What is this man saying? Hey, new girls. This here is your first game, right? Sorry, but it's totally useless to call checkmate after a little something like that. Yeah, it's all useless. What are you talking about, Battler? You say you'll become Dad? Yeah, I'll reenact it. I'll become grandfather and disappear from this room. You can't use the windows of the door, right? How would you do it? Did you find a hidden door? I don't have a clue either. Yes, not a clue. Rustle. That sound wasn't just the noise of the onlookers fidgeting. It was a provocative chill that ran up Erika's spine. Interesting. I see. You're the successor to Ushimiya family headship, the one who bears the head's ring. That should more than qualify you to stand in for Kinzo-san. Why don't you let us have a look at your theory? Erika's expression was no longer a challenging smile. It was malicious, overwhelmingly displeased. She couldn't conceal her anger at having this very pleasurable time of hers ruined. Pleasurable, huh? How will he get us out of here? I've got it. I see. So that move is still open. So you finally figured it out, you damn geezer. Hidden doors and hiding under the bed. All that stuff is so pitiful it brings tears to the eyes. This is the Ushimiya Kinzo we're talking about here. There's gotta be a more thrilling and exciting answer. Exactly. How pitiful that even I couldn't think of it, even though it was about me. And how pitiful that the only one of my relatives to understand me is Battler, the kid who's returned after being gone 6 years. Battler, take my place. Do not shame me. Sure, Gramps. I'll teach these guests what the dignity of the Ushimiya family head is all about. What are you planning to do, Father? Natsuhi, Beatrice, watch. We'll show you what being the Ushimiya family head truly entails. That battler. What's he trying to prove? There's no way he can do anything. This is a perfect closed room. Alright, Natsui, come over here. Now, move as I tell you to. Battler called Natsui over to the window and whispered something to her with his back towards the others. Miss Delano, you're ready for everything, right? It's not possible for Kinzo and the witch to slip out of this room, right? Of course. Gertrude, Cornelia, and the palace guards. Double-check that the seal of this closed room is perfect. Please, allow me to speak. Our barrier is perfect. Allow me to speak. There are no hidden doors, and this escape will not be granted to either door or window. Palace guards, when battler engages the barrier, fire arrows without hesitation. Yes, Sir Core. Roger. Battler-sama, prepare yourself. Escaping from this room is impossible. But he'll do it, yeah? How? He's certain he can succeed, even without any basis. That's what it means to be the Ushimiya head, yeah? True. Let us watch. Yeah. Let's see the majesty of Riche's opponent. Then, I'll begin. Everyone nodded and watched Battler's every move. Grandfather was lying in bed like this, grunting his understanding of Aunt Natsuhi's daily report, or whatever. Battler lay down on the bed himself. As if it still mattered now, Erika grumbled about disturbing the crime scene, but no one listened to her. 'Cause who cares? Then, I stopped answering and sleep. Well, realistically speaking, I probably get tired of all that talk and only pretend to be asleep. You really do get it. I see that father has gone to sleep. Bow silently and leave. Natsui lowered her head to Battler, who was still lying down in the bed, and turned around. Then she started wandering around as though doing an inspection of the room. After seeing that grandfather was asleep, and Natsuhi probably did an inspection of the room before leaving. Of course, she had Shannon-chan and the others clean it every day, but she still checked it thoroughly by herself, making sure there was no dust piling up, making sure he hadn't run out of any consumables. Yes, this is the room of the precious family head, so I check everything carefully myself instead of relying entirely on the servants. I always do that. That's true. Madam usually checks things very carefully. Her inspections are very detailed, and she even checks all of the consumables in the washroom one by one. In other words, we aren't just talking about dust on the windowsills, like you see on the time on TV. She checks to see that there's enough soap and toilet paper in the washroom. Though she probably doesn't have to do it each day, she's very devoted. That is my routine. I mustn't slack off in my inspection of the head's room for even a single day. So what's your point? Please keep any showing off to a minimum. Coming from you. Isn't getting to show off the biggest perk to being a detective? But I'm the detective. Since we're inside the study, you can probably tell, but even though we call it a study, it wouldn't be wrong to call it a second house inside the mansion. It has a sleeping room, a study, a washroom, and even a toilet and bath. In other words, it isn't a single room. You could call it a full house. Thank you for the explanation of the room's layout. However, the move of having him hide somewhere in this room has already been defeated. He isn't hiding. However, there's gotta be several blind spots. For example, if Aunt Natsui went into the bathroom to check the amount of toilet paper, most of the study would be outside her range of vision. In other words, for almost every location in the study, the sole observer would have disappeared. Observer disappearance. We've lost track of Kinzo. Let it be said that the witch's darkness is filling the study. Excellent. Watch as it fills with the power of darkness. So, if the observer, if Natsushi goes away, so what? What next? When Grandfather noticed that fussy Aunt Natsuhi leaving, he got up. Why? On a twisted night such as this, what better way to enjoy a drink than bathed in twisted weather under the night sky? Since Aunt Natsuhi is in a blind spot of the bathroom, it becomes possible for Grandfather to walk about the study at will. It was possible for him to move without Natsuhi's knowledge. It was possible for him to move without contradicting what Natsuhi knew. Warning, battlers approaching the study door. Allow me to speak. A noise rings out when the lock of the study is released. Know that you cannot leave through the door without Natsuhi thinking something was odd. Because Battler had acted as though he was heading for the door, Gertrude, who was sealing the door, immediately sent out a warning. Maybe it was possible for him to leave the study while in Natsuhi's blind spot. However... That's right. There's the sound. We know there's a loud sound when the auto lock is released. Even if Natsuhi was in a blind spot inside the study, she wouldn't miss hearing that. Of course she'd find it odd. Allow me to speak. Let it be said that Natsuhi did not hear the sound of the door opening while in the room. The washroom and toilet are very close to the door. Even if they hadn't been, that auto lock always lets off such a massive sound. She'd be able to hear that sound no matter what. Natsuhi had already spoken with Erika and the others about the details of the previous night, making it quite clear that nothing out of the ordinary had occurred. Any argument that relied on Natsuhi failing to hear the lock wouldn't work. Please, allow me to speak once more. Kinzo entering or exiting through the door will not be permitted. Let it be said that this is a useless struggle. It is foolish. It's true, I can't break through the red of that girl by the door. But what about you over there by the window? Yep, called it. And turning his back to Gertrude, who claimed that leaving through the door was impossible, Battler locked his gaze on Cornelia, who stood in front of the window. Make sure you hold that barrel of yours up tight. 'Cause you're gonna be blasted away, okay? By now, Battler's target was clear. It was Cornelia. It was the window. He was going to smash this closed room from the window. Not expecting to be chosen as the target herself, Cornelia was overawed for just a second, but she quickly regained her composure. On rare occasions, struggling, fleeing wretches would directly challenge the barriers Cornelia set up. Such witches were always frightening, always fighting desperately on the brink of death. Please, allow me to speak. You are Battler's target, Cornelia. I ask that you be on your guard. Fool. God, have pity on this foolish lamb. I'm no sheep. The head of the Ushime family is an eagle, with one wing. Don't think you can keep me shut up in this study forever with just a flimsy window like that. Starting with a low posture, both silent and supple, Battler ran forward like a white leopard. This guy couldn't possibly mean to... This is... Allow me to speak. There is no way to defeat my red. Know that your wish will not be granted. Cornelia thrust out both her arms and made a sign. When she did, a red barrier closed in front of Battler. Know that your course is for fruitless one, Ushimiya Battler. Know that this window is sealed from the inside, and Natsui did not help Kinzo escape. I'm not saying that Aunt Natsuhi helped Grandfather escape. But what if Grandfather snuck out, keeping it a secret from Aunt Natsuhi? But why would Kinzo go out the window on his own? What better way to enjoy a drink on a twisted night than leaping through the rain-swept skies? But this is the 3rd floor, right? It's impossible. Even you've jumped down a flight of stairs at least once in your life, right? 3 stories is nothing for Kinzo. I wouldn't put it past him. I certainly wouldn't. That's ridiculous! Blue cracks appeared in Cornelia's red barrier, and it shattered with a crisp sound. It was all far too quick. It looked almost as though she'd gotten out of the way herself in fear of Battler. Endless 9. Magic resistance power. Endless 9. Cornelia-sama, you can't block it. Retreat. At the same time the barrier shattered, the window behind Cornelia's back was flung open. The curtains fluttered for just an instant. Though it was all filled with rain, the heavens and the courtyard were spread out in front of them. A fitting exit for an eagle leaping from this closed room. Cornelia, repair the barrier. As you wish, Commander Delano. Know that you will not be allowed to break this. Cornelia quickly returned to her senses and set up another red barrier. However, this was her last one. Please, allow me to speak. Let us accept for the time being that Kinzo escaped through the window. In that case, how did he lock a window which cannot be locked from the outside? The window was locked from the inside. Useless. Yeah, it's all useless. Kinzo and Battler grinned. Did you think this feeble red could block the charge of Battler and Kinzo, the 2 family heads? After Grandfather jumped out the window, Aunt Natsuhi probably noticed a slight draft. She then approached the window, realized it was wide open, then quickly closed and locked it. Natsuhi couldn't have imagined that I'd slip out the window. Yeah. So, it's only natural that Aunt Natsuhi thought Kinzo was sleeping in bed. Now that Battler had found the answer, the red barrier was more fragile than thin glass. The thin magical wall of certainty had been smashed again, so easily that it disgraced the name of certainty itself. Unbelievable, right? That barrier was more firm than any Ranove had ever used against Jessica, and yet it had been destroyed so easily. Though Battler was rushing fiercely and had almost reached Cornelia, she didn't step aside. Her steel spirit, worthy of the name Eisern Jungfrau, didn't allow her to step aside. She took a charm from her pocket, placed it against the thin air, and made a sign. Then, not red, but blue burned there. Though it was far more frail than the red barrier, it was her last method of resistance. You won't get through. You won't. Let me speak. Let me speak. Be that as it may, this is the 3rd floor. How could a wingless human escape from this window? Know that you won't get through. You won't! Just quit your whining and watch. This is the answer. Battler jumped. He burst through Cornelia's blue barrier, knocked them away, and his body flew out the window through the darkness of the rainy sky. Uh-huh. It's the 3rd story, man. So, apparently Kinzo and Battler, the head of the Ushimias, is allowed to fly. The fragments of the blue barrier scattered, beautifully adorning the surrounding air. The closed room had been smashed open. Battler flew out of the mansion, through the sky above the rainy courtyard. All the raindrops became small round gems and were scattered through the air. Battler flew across the treasure box world of that exquisite stormy sky, through the countless gems of rain that filled it. In the sky over the world frozen in time, Dillonor and Balor faced each other. If Balor, who had smashed and flown out the window, was like a knight leaping off a white horse, then Dillonor was another knight who floated in the air waiting for him. In the air above the courtyard, surrounded by the Ushimiya mansion and frozen in time, the true new head of the Ushimiya family and the disciple of heaven who would test him cross paths. Well done. When you fall into the courtyard, whether you live or die, it won't change the fact that Kinto could have defeated this closed room. You who have thrown away your life and jumped are a martyr. Well done. You have smashed our closed room barrier. Splendid, Ushimiya battler. However, I am the head inquisitor of heresy, Dillonor A. Nox. I cannot allow you to escape out from under my nose. Now, at the end, allow me the honor of crossing swords with you. Sure, bring it on. This game is surprisingly unrelenting. In this world where the gems of rain fell slowly like large snowflakes on a snowy field, Dillonor and Balor slowly crossed paths. It seemed slow, and yet it had happened in a flash. Their gazes crossed and clashed like lightning. Night confronted night head-on, and everything would be settled with a single strike. Blue and red crossed paths. Was it shown beforehand that a blind spot existed within the study for Natsuhi? If it wasn't shown, this theory would not be permitted. Nox is 8th. It is forbidden for the case to be resolved with clues that are not presented. Dillonor's double strike with both blue and red blades reached out to slice Balor, and failed. Those longswords, which had never lost over the course of 100 battles, cut through empty air. When we entered the study, its structure was clearly described. Too bad for you. For the first time, an expression showed on Dillionor's face. Not necessarily. It was a sudden smile. She had known about that long before. However, she still couldn't let him escape without attempting that single strike. Not even with her reputation as an Inquisitor of Heresy on the line. She still crossed swords with Balor, even though she knew it would fail. Yes, I knew. With your answer, Nox's 8th is not violated. Here it comes. No hard feelings. Yes, come. In Balor's hand was a blade that shone red. That blade etched out the red truth. It wouldn't be an exaggeration to say that Kinto's study was a small villa he had created inside the mansion. A study, a library, a place to sleep, and a bathroom and washroom. It was divided into multiple rooms. That has already been shown, and it suggests that there could have been a blind spot somewhere within the room. Without any mercy. No, without any reluctance, which would have been dishonorable. The sword of red truth cut into Dillonor. It cut a beautiful hemisphere through the countless gems of rain that filled the sky. Well, done. Time exploded into life. Both of them fell through the courtyard. One drifted down, the other tumbled to the air. Then there was a soft sound and a dull thud. The first was the sound of Balor landing gently in the courtyard. The second was the sound of Dillonor crashing down. After crouching down for a while, Balor slowly stood up. Though he had jumped down from the 3rd floor, he had landed as lightly as though he had merely jumped over a fence. Balor! Beato leaned out of the study window, looking to see if the supposedly wingless Balor had landed safely. Beato! Come on! Jump! Huh? That window is our way out. So jump! You aren't the kind of witch who can be locked up inside a closed room, right? The study was no longer a closed room. She could jump from here, escape from here. By now, the closed room that had threatened to capture the witch and suffocate her had been destroyed. Yes, you too, Kinzo. Go. From the moment Battler showed his answer, my spirit had already escaped from this room. Kinzo's form became a cloud of gold butterflies and disappeared. The closed room barrier had dissolved, and the power that denies magic had scattered. Beato ran towards the window. That was the only exit from the closed room of this witch hunt. After glancing at the Chiester sisters and the subordinates of the Inquisitor of Heresy, she readied her wound-covered body and ran towards the window, just like Battler had done. She looked like Cinderella running as she had heard the bell toll. There's no way we'll let you escape, Beatrice. Illusion of the witch. Erika flew at Beato, trying to latch onto Beato as she dashed. But it was like trying to catch smoke, and she landed face first on the floor. There's no way a human could catch a witch. For one such as her, without love, even touching Beato was impossible. Gesticor, shoot the witch! Shoot her dead! Alignment conflict. Unable to fire. Allow me to speak. I have no barrier prepared that can block Battler's blue truth. Both Jester 00 and Gertrude spoke with unbelievably calm voices. No one can stop them? Not Battler? Not Kinzo? Not Beatrice? If these guys manage to escape... My closed room... My theory... I'm... the detective... Furudo Erika... Erika crouched, screaming and clutching at her head. I'm gonna let that stand on its own. The Great Golden Witch isn't gonna be defeated by something like that geezer's grubby study. It's useless. Just the first twilight. I'll teach these newcomers that your game isn't that easy. Just like that, Battler, Beato, also flew. She drifted down through the rain treasure box world into Battler's chest. Battler caught her with both arms as though catching a feather from an angel. It was like a knight catching a princess who had been locked up in a tower. Like a beautiful picture of some scene in a fairy tale. Crap. I think I'm in love. Are all the Ushiromiya family heads like this? Well, of the two we know, yes. If you were to write down the unprecedented feats of Ushiromiya Kinzo, you would probably have an uproarious tale, longer than all the grimoires in the study put together. It seems the tale of the next head will be worth writing down as well. I guess so? It seems the tale of the next head will be worth writing down as well. In fact, it already is being written. It's already a very, very long tale. The demons giggled on top of the roof, holding umbrellas. Then, they quietly looked down over the two in the courtyard. You're not bad at all. I guess all your games toughened me up. In shock, Beato actually praised Battler as he held her in his arms. Battler laughed in his usual carefree way. This is impossible. Impossible. Erika looked down from the window and clenched her teeth, still clutching at her head. Still holding Beato in his arms, Battler grinned back. Erika? What? I'm not giving the riddle of the Golden Witch to you. I'll solve it. That riddle belongs to the two of us. Right, Beato? Indeed. My riddle is... Yo? When Battler laughed evilly, Beato's face turned uncharacteristically red. But even so, she spoke while laughing loudly. My riddle is... yours. Yours alone, Ushiriya Battler. I won't let anyone else solve it. Listen to her, saying something like that. Battler snorted, amused that Beato had said something so out of character. And, still holding Beato in his arms, he spun around in a kind of waltz. The falling gems of rain celebrated their victory over this trial. He jumped down from the third story, and he's all right. He jumped down and escaped from the closed room. This is ridiculous. This isn't reasoning. It's insane. That's Ushiramiya's for you. If Battler had at least been seriously injured and writhing in the mud, Erika might still have had some ground to stand on. She might have been able to claim that Kinzo couldn't have jumped down with his old body and gotten away unscathed. However, Battler stood calmly in the courtyard, looking up at Erika with the dignity of the victor. Everyone, I'll ask one more time. This is impossible, right? There's no way a human could jump down from a third story and land unharmed. Isn't that right, everyone? Much less Kinzo-san jumping down from the third floor at his age. This isn't reasoning. Erika tried to get everyone's agreement and somehow turn things around, but their responses were no different from how they'd been a short while ago. No, it would be possible for Kinzo-san. I wouldn't put it past Father. This is Father we're talking about. There's plenty of crazy stories about that man. Something like this wouldn't surprise me a bit. What? Is there something wrong with your heads? With your brains, people? At any rate, looks like your closed room argument wasn't perfect. Not only the servants, but the family members also agreed. They all agreed that there was nothing strange about Kinzo jumping down from a third-floor window. It's just, who in the world is this Tsushimiya Kinzo person? Well, I'll give you 60 points. Kinzo would have done it with a bit more flash in his younger days. It needs some more tweaking. Oh? And how much should it be tweaked? Well, he might have jumped down with me in his arms. Got it. Next time, I'll do that. If you think you can, just you try. Beato's voice grew very faint, and she gulped. Then her body suddenly crumbled away into a cloud of gold butterflies. That was because many people had rushed up the window, and she was being bathed in gazes filled with the anti-magic toxin. Mayato's body became invisible to them, and melted into the air. So to their eyes, it appeared that Battler was standing all alone, out in the courtyard. Battler! You okay? It looks like he's fine. Thank goodness. I have lost. In that case, for the benefit of those people in the study as well, deliver your final blow to me. Use your final blue truth to show how Kinzo escaped from the closed room of that study. There was no pain in Delanor's expression. Pleasure and pain never showed up on her face in the first place. However, she was only barely able to rise to her feet, using her longsword as a crutch, so it was easy to guess at how heavily she'd been damaged. And, despite her lack of an expression, you could tell that this was a loss she could accept. Battler and Delaunor turned to face each other. Here I go. Yes. Come. As though readying herself, Eleanor quietly closed her eyes, but she still stood tall and maintained her air of dignity. This is my blue truth. The blue power gathered. Battler slowly approached Eleanor. Then, he faced the rainy sky and yelled out the blue truth. Ushimiya Kinto escaped from the study through the window when Aunt Natsuhi couldn't see him. Aunt Natsuhi didn't notice and locked the window. In this way, Aunt Natsuhi saw Grandfather go to bed. Yet Grandfather was able to escape from the study without contradicting the lock of the window or the door sealed by the receipt. I have just demonstrated that it was physically possible for him to escape. Therefore, this battle is over. The blue wedge flashed through the courtyard along with a blue bolt of lightning, roaring down towards Eleanor's forehead as she stared up at the sky. Beato's game isn't forgiving. It's doubtful whether the classic patterns of the mystery genre even work here. Her swordsmanship isn't bad, but you ought to be a bit more flexible in your thinking. A massive blue wedge that looked like a pillar was above Eleanor's forehead, and had stopped with its tip just slightly touching her. It didn't run her through. It made no mark larger than being poked with a pencil. When Battler snapped his fingers, the blue wedge shattered and became a shower of translucent gems. No drops of rain that poured down over the courtyard. Eleanor sat down in a dazed sort of way. Amidst the thunder and rain, the successor to the Uchiha family headship faced the people staring down from the study and spread his arms wide. Welcome to Beatos in my game. Welcome, Furudo, Erika. How amusing. Ushimiya Battler. Good though. Truly good though. I'll chew it to bits. This riddle of the witch. All the way deep into its guts while I still live. Still alive. Battler and Beato both looked calmly up at Erika, who couldn't contain her evil laugh. It's hard laughing like that. Oh, this is good stuff. Erika, that was so lame. Lady Burncastle, my apologies. That look on your face, it's so incredibly laughable that I'd like to smash it and put a frame around it. My double is so pathetic, lame. Stop laughing, please. Bathed in the sneers of Burncastle, a being who was like a mother to her. Erika was so ashamed that it looked as though she'd chew her lip to lower pieces. Someday, I'll definitely. Ushimiya Battler. Beatrice. Ushimiya Natsuhi. I don't know what to do with these. Please stop laughing. This riddle is ours. I won't let anyone get in the way. Beatrice. Yes. Umineko no Nakukoro Nichiro. Nocturne of Truth and Illusions. That was actually really good timing on the music. $11 o'clock. Golden Land. In the Golden Land, the quiet rain just kept on falling. In the arbor sat the sad witch whose eyes had lost their glint, and Battler. Regalia could also be seen there. She sat next to Beato, knitting quietly. Lambda Delta's game has passed the climax of the first twilight, and they were taking a short break. Gazing out at the golden rose garden soaked with rain, Battler considered the present, what was to come, and what had happened so far. To Battler, the act of thinking was itself a battle. Even with the game stopped and Beato unable to speak, he could still keep on fighting. Regalia suddenly stopped her knitting. Battler noticed it too. Because so no one should have been able to visit this rose garden, she had noticed a silhouette approaching. That's unusual. Not many people are capable of reaching this place. It's her. Yep. That silhouette, which walks amidst the quietly falling rain without so much as an umbrella, was Dillenor. That was a spectacular garden maze, a splendid way to enjoy the roses. Why are you here? It's been some time, Mrs. Beatrice. No, wait. Now it's Mrs. Virgilia, is it not? Long time no see, Dillenor. Come over here. We aren't ones to leave a guest out in the rain. Don't worry. She hasn't come to fight. Do you know her? She's one of my old friends from heaven. This really takes me back. That it does. Mrs. Virgilia possesses a deep knowledge in heavenly studies. I have often argued with her over interpretations. My many intellectual adventures with you were quite enjoyable. I'd like to do it again sometime. Yes, let's do it again sometime. I'd love to fight with you, again. They used the word fight, but it didn't sound like they meant anything unpleasant by it. It sounded like something old chess rivals would say to each other. Unlike Beato, it seems Virgilia always behaved properly and courteously, so she had many friends in various other worlds, including both heaven and the demon world. Surprisingly, Dillenor was one of them. Dillenor, who had crossed swords with me just a short while ago, ducked her head like someone taking shelter from a sudden rain, and sat in the seat Virgilia pointed out, like a guest. Is there any type of black tea you would prefer? Anything. Any tea you make is superb. And how about some Darjeeling? Battler, Beato, would you like some more? No. Beato and I would like a refill, right? As usual, Beato didn't answer. But if you quietly gave her a cup, she would sip it from time to time. There was still some black tea left in that cup, but it had already chilled. So Battler asked for a refill for Beato as well. I have heard the rumors. How pitiable that Beatrice, the endless witch, famous for her cruelty, has been reduced to this. She's no longer participating in the game. Lambda Delta is the one controlling the Beato that's on the game board. I know. However, she is the original master of this world, and you are the proper guest, invited by the master. That is why I have come to pay my respects. On the game board, Beato and I met Dillenor. But those were the game pieces of those witches. They weren't Beato and me, ourselves. Is that why you went out of your way to greet Battler-kun and Beato here? I see you're as conscientious as ever. That is my way of doing things. Greetings, Mr. Battler. I am Dylanor A. Knox. We play opposing roles, but it is a pleasure to meet you. Sure. I'm Ushirmiya Battler. Pleased to meet you. Greetings, Miss Beatrice. I'm Dylanor A. Knox. Beato. She's saying hi. She says, welcome. Thank you very much, Miss Beatrice. The witch and the Inquisitor of Heresy, whose job it was to hunt witches, greeted each other around a tea table surrounded by the aroma of black tea. It was a strange sight. Virgilia made gold butterflies sprout from the palms of her hands, and transformed them into a teapot and a can of tea leaves. It was a very witch-like way to make tea. Of course, she actually was a witch, so that scene wasn't particularly bizarre in itself. Though I was a bit concerned about whether Dylanor, an Inquisitor of Heresy, could watch such a spectacle. Do not worry. I am not so boorish as to complain about how my tea is served. Even though the tea is being made with magic. There is a tea set hiding in the shadows, and Mrs. Virgilia is making us tea with it in secret. We interpret or judge that it was made with magic, and it is written as such in the tale. That interpretation is allowed by Knox's Ninth. Oh my. I do believe the interpretation of the Ninth is such a delicate problem that it's viewed as a taboo, even in the Great Court. Even though it's just a personal opinion, if it became known that the head Inquisitor of Heresy said such a thing, you might be sacked. No matter what interpretation I record it with, there are no lies in the taste of your tea. Therefore, I do not worry about how it was prepared. Though she looked cold, she was a surprisingly tactful person. If Dylanor were to deny that the black tea had been prepared with magic, this magic would surely be crushed in an instant. However, the possibility had been presented that a tea set existed and had been used to make the tea normally. So the fact that Virgilia had made tea was, in the end, undisputed. Magic that hides the results in darkness is evil. I will not permit it. However, magic that enshrouds the process is not necessarily evil. My foe is evil itself, not magic. I see. The important thing is that you're being served some tea. So it's just common courtesy to avoid complaining about how it was made. That's right. When someone makes tea for you, it's common courtesy to be grateful. There's nothing elegant about pushing your way into the kitchen and criticizing how they brew it. You don't invite your guests into the kitchen. And when you set the table, you should adorn it beautifully in the spirit of hospitality. Here you go. Careful, it's hot. Thank you. I would like some sugar and milk. You still can't drink it straight? I'm a kid. It must be sweet. So then, is magic a gentle lie? The word lie makes it sound bad. The word embellishment is probably more fitting. When giving a child candy, you can take a crumpled up one out of your pocket, or you can use some clever sleight of hand to take the candy out. The impression given by each method varies greatly. Well, yeah, it'd look cooler if you took it out with a little magic trick. Wrong. There is meaning in the fact that the result, giving them candy, has been adorned to be even more beautiful and fun. Think of when you gave Maria-chan a candy. There's a huge difference between taking it out of your pocket to give to her, and slipping it into her pocket, and saying a fairy gave it to her for being such a good girl. In my opinion, it would be boorish to then question everyone about their alibis and pinpoint who it was that slipped it into her pocket. The important thing is the result, that the girl received the candy and rejoiced. And it is significant that it was embellished in a way that made her rejoice. That's surprising. When you showed up, I got the feeling you'd deny anything that went by the name of magic. That is how I act in my capacity as an Inquisitor of Heresy. It is my job. However, when I am away from my job, I don't enjoy being quite so cold-hearted. So, you set your personal feelings aside when on duty? You do it well. As an Inquisitor of Heresy, hunting witches is my job. However, I personally find witches pitiable. Despite this, I carry out judgment mercilessly as an Inquisitor. In the end, that doesn't change the fact that I sentence witches to death. In the end, my pity is nothing more than a useless embellishment. Whether I have it or not, nothing changes. So, it would be better if I didn't. That's not true. Even if the ends are the same, what's in your heart makes a big difference. Your mother's cookies are clearly more delicious than those made by a good pastry shop. That's because you know that they were made with heart. That's right. Even if the result looks the same, whether or not there's warmth behind the feeling of whoever gave it to you makes a big difference. Is that so? Whether I have a heart or not is completely meaningless. Deliner's gaze fell to her cup, a little sadly. That's not true. After hearing all this, I've changed my view of you a bit. And that's why I'm certain the heart isn't meaningless. Virgilia was a little surprised to hear the words she should have said coming from Battler's mouth. After all, understanding the heart is the first step towards finding the essence of magic. By now, perhaps Battler has unconsciously started to understand, bit by bit, the essence of Beato, the essence of witches, and the very first essence of all, magic. Whether you want to become a witch or vanquish them, the very first step is learning about magic. Virgilia was sure that she'd felt this faint change within Battler. As for that last fight, thank you very much. I am grateful for the mercy you showed me at the very end. That me wasn't me. Lambda Delta was controlling him. I joined on the 5th game, partway through. I still haven't participated at this point in time. So, until I do join in, the Peace Me is probably being controlled by Berncastle or Lambda Delta. Just what kind of whims guiding them, trying to make it look all cool. They made me look some kind of knight coming to save Beato. Lady Lambda Delta wants both witches and humans to be in balance, resulting in a draw. With Erika's appearance, the scales tipped strongly in the favor of the human side. Thus she manipulated the tale in a way that supports Beato. I am aware of that. However, pieces cannot do things that are impossible for them, and they specialize in actions appropriate to their original personality. Therefore, that was certainly something that Battler was capable of. That is why I am grateful to you. It feels a bit weird to be praised when I didn't actually do anything. After the game continues a bit more, I'll probably regain control of my piece. Not sure I'll be able to go easy on you then. It's the same with me. The next time we cross swords, I won't hold back. Bring it on. I'll be your opponent. Come at me with all you've got. I promise. With everything I've got. Dillonor, huh? I thought she was an emotionless killer doll without a heart. But maybe she actually is pretty approachable. Though, of course, neither of us will show any mercy when fighting on the game board. For a while, we gazed at the rain-drenched rose gardens as we quietly enjoyed our tea. I think that's the stopping point. Yeah, and we'll find that out next time. Tomorrow, I guess. That was an interesting episode. It definitely took a odd turn, and Battler can fly now. It's confirmed. Canon. Something we can do. Or something. I don't know. Anywho. Let's, oh yeah. The character thingies. Where are we? Why do they all have to wear that? Dillonor A. Knox, a member of Eisern Jungfrau, the 7th District's Repentance Enforcement Agency of the Great Court of Heaven, a head inquisitor of heresy and a first-class archbishop. She is commonly known as Dillonor of the 10 Wedges, or Death Sentence Dillonor. The name Death Sentence comes from the fact that though inquisitors of heresy normally judge their targets to see whether they deserve the death penalty or not, Head Inquisitor Dillonor is only dispatched after a case has been vigorously inspected by the Great Court. Therefore, the very act of dispatching her is equivalent to a sentence of death. Next. Her father was the legendary Inquisitor of heresy, but he broke the rules and was executed. She was the one who performed his interrogation and execution. Since that time, she has stopped growing, and both her body and mind remain entirely those of a young maiden. It is whispered that her heart also died at that moment, but she does not see it that way. Her primary weapons are the red key and the blue key, which take the form of a longsword and a short sword. Apparently, it's, you guys are the ones who maybe do it. And I think Cornelia and Gertrude. Yeah. Cornelia, a member of Eisern Jungfrau, the 7th District Repentance Enforcement Agency of the Great Court of Heaven, an assistant inquisitor and a third-class minister. She has obtained high grades in academic exercises, but this is her first time on the job. She possesses a strong sense of justice and is currently cramming her exams to become an inquisitor of heresy like Dillonor. Her current goal is to become more like the veteran assistant, Gertrude. Member of Jungfrau, 7th District Agent of Court, high-level inquisitor, an assistant inquisitor of heresy. She is tasked with aiding during interrogations and hearings. Because most missions end up as executions, she is usually assigned the job of using barriers to block the target's means of escape. And with that, I will bid you adieu. Till next time, everybody. Don't stop believing. Anything can happen. Take care.